I'm crazy romantic and I can't wait to be bonkers in love. Yeah. And all my psychics have said I am going to be bonkers in love and there is going to be someone coming soon. So if he's listening, it's around September, but if you want to come early...
Yeah, come on down. Come on down. We'll put the show notes. We'll put your phone number in the show notes. Hello and welcome to Separate Bathrooms. My name's Daddo.
And I'm her husband, Cameron Daddo. We're in the studio today.
Oh, it's so nice. No glitches.
No waiting for me to... Oh, I got to start again. I forgot to press record.
No dogs jumping up on the couch and barking. Yeah, planes overhead, you name it.
Yes, and it's a little drier and
that's right.
It smells a little nicer in here.
It does. We have got a fabulous lady in the bathroom or about to enter the bathroom. She has a book called Currently Between Husbands. We love that title. She's also got another great Nova podcast called Not Another Parenting Podcast.
Indeed.
With a fabulous friend of ours called Sarah McGilvray, who we adore.
Cath Mahoney has her book out now. She was married to a legend of Australian Rugby League, Andrew Johns, with whom she has a child whose name is Lewis.
Yeah. She was a publicist, and for those not in show business, a publicist is someone celebrities and production companies hire to promote and draw attention to whatever they're selling.
So as common sense might have it, Cath probably understood all that she'd be in for as far as public scrutiny goes. Maybe. Let's find out. Can't wait to have this chat. Let's welcome into the bathroom Cath Mahoney. Welcome, Cath Mahoney, to the bathroom.
Woohoo!
How are you?
Very excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
No worries. You've got your book Currently Between Husbands. Can I ask you, why did you write this book?
Oh, gosh. Why? So many whys.
Why? What's your why?
What's my why? Well, mainly 2 weeks before my 40th birthday, my marriage ended. My birthday is Christmas Day, so I was hoping maybe for more of a nice bag for Christmas.
Yes.
But no, sadly, I'm lying there on Christmas night thinking, oh my gosh, how have I ended up here? And at the time... this was 7 years ago. At the time, nobody I knew was divorced. And so I didn't have anyone to turn to go, what happens next? Is this normal? My life's fallen apart. I can't get out of bed. Help. And I remember walking around Berklow Books in Mona Vale and just thinking, okay, there's loads of self-help books, but why has Bridget Jones not got divorced? You know, I wanted to read Helen Fielding's take on it. I wanted the highs and the lows and the comedy, and I wanted to know that it was going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. Yep. So for me, I think, and then the next 18 months literally rolled out like a Bridget Jones movie. You couldn't have made some of the stuff up. And so I think when I was ready, I thought, no, I'm going to share this. I'm going to put it out there, and hopefully it'll resonate with someone else that's, at that point.
Right. Yeah, you actually say the book I wish I could have read when my marriage went tits up.
Yeah. It really did. It really did. Do you know what the book was actually called? The book was called actually I Don't Like Cricket or Blowjobs. And that is what the publishers all went, yes, we'll go with that.
Yes.
And then a little bit further in, they went, oh, this might be tricky in the shops.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
just a bit tricky.
Yeah, putting something against cricket,
Well, also, some women like cricket, so I had to take that into account as well. But yes.
Oh my God,
some women like blowjobs.
They do.
Yeah,
Gino I spoke to told me she did. I was like, oh, look, I'm good for a couple to start.
Right.
Yeah. They peter off then. Got to be honest.
Peter being the operative word. Or Johnson.
Oh.
What was your experience? Take us through that time.
Gosh, I mean...
Are you able to do that?
Yeah, look, it's, for those listening, I was married to Rugby League immortal, Andrew Johns, who is very big in rugby league states, and so therefore the marriage ending sort of played out publicly as well as privately. So my experience would probably be a little bit different to every, to maybe others listening.
You mean other people going through divorce?
Yes, or the end of a relationship.
Yeah.
We'd separated a couple of times, Andrew and I, over the course of our relationship. We were together for 13 years. And he's very public about his bipolar. So, for us, that was a challenge at times. So I think, living through some of that was tricky. But when it actually finally came to an end, it was like a slow death, I think, the end of our marriage. You know, I think it was coming. We try and get back together. We had Lewis, so you stay, you know, and you wonder, do I want too much? Like this beige bit, is this just life? You know, I remember saying to Mum, I think when Lewis goes to uni or leaves home, I'll probably move back, or, you know. She's like, with Andrew? I was like, no, I don't think so. And Mum was like, why do you want to waste the next kind of 12, 15 years if that's how you feel? But I don't know. You never, sometimes it's hard to know, isn't it? Until, you know, the fat lady sings, as it were.
Yeah, you're looking back on it as well. Did you feel that, you know, going the back and forth, looking back on that now, do you wish that the first time you sort of split up, you had have stayed split up, or were you happy? You go, no, having that second go or third go was a good idea?
I think it was a good idea. I'm a big believer in, you know, the universe and fate and life. And I, you know, as Ram Dass said, we're all just walking each other home. You know, so I look back and I think I wouldn't change a thing. Yeah. And I think every time there was still that glimmer of, maybe we should try again, you know, and then you have a child and then you really think, I've got to try again. I can't not just breaking up with my high school sweetheart here. Yeah. So, yeah, but you know when you know, and it is, you know, I think you're almost grieving it while you're still in it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, because we had a very public split and then got back together, and we're still together, obviously. But I love it when couples don't give up so easily, you know, because I feel like they're, you know, particularly if you know when you're still in love with someone and there's still some goodness in there. But, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, your husband was dealing with bipolar, and that's must have played a big part in the challenges within the relationship, I can only imagine.
Yeah, it did. We didn't actually live together till we got married, not for any religious belief system. Just he was always based in Newcastle where he played. I always worked at like Sony Music and Channel 9 in Sydney, and so we had a weekend relationship a lot of the time, which maybe we hadn't really had that good run at living together, because that's a whole different ball game, isn't it? And so when we did, we fell pregnant with Lewis quite quickly. So as you know, your dynamic as a couple changes straight away. No one's sleeping, no one's having sex. My boobs are leaking in coals. This is not really this is not as romantic as it used to be. We're not going anywhere fancy on holiday. I mean, we could,
Don't
but
touch
we've
the
got
boobs. They're not for you anymore.
They're not for you. But my God, I felt like Mr. Potato Head, and I'd been put back like in the wrong way parts. I'm not going on top again ever. So yeah, it changed. And Andrew's work meant he was away a lot. We had this. Lots of time apart, and he worked weekends. So I already felt a bit like a solo parent, you know, taking Lewis to the park. And then the season would end, and then suddenly someone is in your space 24/7, and you're like, oh, I don't want the horse racing channel on. I just want to eat tuna out of a tin tonight, because normally you're not here, and now I've got you want to have sex? No thanks. You know, it was kind of a really unusual dynamic. And there were amazing times too. You know, lots of love and brilliant times. But I think it's, for me, looking back, it's when you go to a restaurant and you book the sitter, and, you know, you've gone for a 3-course meal, and like the starters just finish, you're like, sort of run out of things to say to each other. You know, you go, maybe we don't have enough in common anymore. So there was a lot of that. But there was also loads of love, loads of brilliant times, loads of crazy times, loads of fun, lots of dancing, lots of experiences that we wouldn't have had we not both been in the kind of careers that we were in. So, yeah.
At what point did you go, this has to become a book?
I don't know, like from the LAX airport story onwards, from Andrew moving on with Daniel Craig's ex-fiancée, you know, you're like, everyone is just playing themselves in this movie.
Okay. Right. You went, this is too much.
Wow.
It's all got to go down.
You know, Missionary in a Moon Boot is the chapter name. The pink
Missionary in a
Moon Boot.
Okay.
So you couldn't see, that was also one of the names possibly for the book. But my publisher was like, we don't want people to think it's a sex book. I was like, it would be a pamphlet if I was writing a sex book.
Or an anti-sex book.
You fantastic country song, that's what I'm thinking of.
Well, we had the pink taco almost rides again. That was a great LA story. So yeah. So you kind of you get a taste of what you're going to get in the book. Wanted to make people laugh.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, in the book in Queen Menopause, that was one of the most important things to add was humour, because it's what got me through perimenopause and menopause, and clearly with you as well, and it's just and it also helps to read it with humour as well, because it obviously it's a painful experience and painful experience for anyone going through a divorce usually. But if you can read that someone else going through it and they're laughing at themselves and the other person and the situation, you're like, whew, okay, it lightens it for other people. So
It does,
congratulations for putting it all together.
Thank you. And the feedback has been lovely, and I'm sure it's the same with your book. Like, your friends and family all read it. Well, not my dad, but yeah.
Well, actually, I don't know. Have your family read it? Your book?
Yeah, my mum has. I don't. Yeah, I'm the same. I don't want. My dad's not going to read it, and
my dad,
don't
I've told
want
him not
to.
to. He doesn't want to read it. It's absolutely not for you, Dad. Yes. But it's when you connect with people that you don't know that have read the book and they reach out.
Yes.
And it's like you're giving a voice to something that's not normally talked about.
Yes.
You're normalising how I felt. I burst into tears when I got that first email from the lawyer. I hated having to ask the teacher for 2 school reports.
Yeah.
I mean, God, I remember I used to panic that I'd lost my wedding and engagement ring. Your brain would catch up and go, oh no, you're not that person anymore. The things that you go, ugh.
Yeah.
So as a girlfriend said to me, she said, you like to think of the book as lots of fun and, lots of laughs at your expense. And she said, but you've also put lots of sad things in and bits where people have gone, I laughed and I cried.
Yeah, that's
and then I spat
right.
out my wine. Can't believe you shared that.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't either. The publisher was like, put it all in and we can take bits out at the end. But we didn't seem to take any bits out at the end.
Did you have a moment of panic? Like when you knew it was coming out, did you have a panic attack and thinking, what the heck? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did it because I narrate the audiobook.
Yeah. Oh, right.
And so I'm in front of Ben, lovely Ben, who I've met an hour previously, and I'm relaying my virginity story to him. And I remember going home and going, should I redo that? Because I think I was more conscious of Ben than the story. And I said to him, I'm never embarrassed. I said, but I feel a bit embarrassed. And I said, and we've got a lost tampon story coming up that we're just going to have to be okay about, Ben. And Ben was like, no problem. I know.
Didn't you have the same thing with something vaginal?
I had a Phil.
His name was Phil?
His name was Phil. And I remember like, can we just go back to the vaginal atrophy line and take it from there? And I'm like, yes, I'll take it from there, Phil. So I'm just going, oh my God, what am I saying? But yeah, you just go ahead and do it anyway. But
it was definitely the audiobook that I went, oh my God, I've said that in my head when I do a 69er, I make a reverse truck noise because it's the most awkward position in the world. And now I've said that on your pod as well. So it's like,
oh my God, I love it.
I will die alone with cats.
I'm going to have to get the audiobook. I want to hear you read it.
Was there anything that you learned about yourself through writing the book?
Yeah, I learned that I seem to get dumped. Usually I seem to be, because I start with the marriage ending and then I go back through my first kiss, my first, my first heartbreak. And I'm like, gosh, I seem to get dumped. And hence the I don't like cricket or blowjobs line. I really morphed into whoever my partner was.
Yeah.
So that was at this point in my, my life at 47. It's like, well, no, when I meet my person, I'm not just going to suddenly death metal music because they do. And I'm who I am now. So I think I learned that. Yeah.
Has it changed the way you feel about love or falling in love?
No, I'm crazy romantic and I can't wait to be bonkers in love. Yeah. And all my psychics have said, I am going to be bonkers in love and there is going to be someone coming soon. So if he's listening, it's around September, but if you want to come early.
Yeah, come on down. Come on down. We'll put the show notes. We'll put your phone number in the show notes. Because your mum and dad have been married for over 50 years or something.
Yes. Yeah, which is lovely. And they've just got a great relationship and I'm surrounded by people who are in wonderful marriages. Wonderful, we all know,
Well,
everyone's got things and issues. But I look around and I think, God, they're such a good team. And so, for me, I'm really looking forward to being in a team again, and not being the fifth chair. Sometimes you're like, oh, I'm on the end again, because it's like the
that must have been tough if you guys were only weekend warriors sort of thing, and then I imagine that Andrew, as a professional sportsman, especially while he was deeply involved in the game, that he was preoccupied with whatever, plays and whatever the minutiae is of going through the weekly schedule of playing professional sports. I'm curious about that with him. What was it? What did it look like being with someone who's bipolar? I don't really have I don't have any frame of reference for that.
Very high and low, and it depending on your cycle. Some people are very manic, and others might have an episode once a year.
What does an episode look? Without giving too much, I don't want to go into his dirty laundry too much, but what does that look like? An episode.
It can be different things for different people. It can just be it can be that kind of mania of. We were told by the black dog. We were very lucky that we got to work a lot with the black dog, and Andrew did a lot for sort of the awareness around bipolar. And this was at a time when it really wasn't talked about, and certainly not by an elite sportsman. Yeah. So that was a big deal. 2007, it all came out. It can just mean you don't have a gatekeeper. So, for example, you and I might go, if I have any more drinks now, that's going to be too many, or if I buy any more stuff because I don't have much money, I can't do that, whereas when someone's having an episode, I guess that's gone, and it's like, let's keep going, or so there's no filter sort of thing. Is that what in some cases? Yeah. I mean, look, the upside, Stephen Fry talks about it in his documentary. He's very open about his bipolar, and I think it was 8 out of 10 people, if they had a button and they could press it to not have it anymore, wouldn't, because they're so creative, or that kind of high is when they're at their best. The lows are obviously a bit more difficult to manage. But yeah, I mean, I look at somebody like Andrew, and even from doing some of the media stuff that we do, you're up and there's adrenaline, isn't there? Like live TV, I've only done a bit of it, but it's, and you're all sort of buzzy. And I think, gosh, at times he was the captain of a country playing a game with lots of people watching, and they were, you can kind of...
Yeah, right.
But on the flip side, I felt very loved by him. There's a real intense love that... I don't know if that was that, or if it was just how he was. But yeah.
Was he diagnosed when you were together, or was he already diagnosed when you met him?
No, diagnosed about 18 months into our relationship.
Oh, and did that sort of help him and you to sort of understand what those massive moves...
I think it did, but it was also something to be kept private.
Yeah.
Like you guys were overseas, but, Andrew got a cold, it was on the front page.
Wow.
We got stalked, it was on the front page. I kept my eyes open when we kissed, when he redid his contract, that was on the front page. It was sort of... and it was at a time where he very much wanted it to be private. So there was that element of, we know something, but no one else does, kind of thing.
Tell us about the experience with the note putting on the windscreen of your car from
hilarious.
rabid fans.
Oh, just the stuff. Mainly fans were lovely, but there were 2 sisters from Orange that stalked me. That we didn't know who they were until the police. Anyway, we were all meant to go to court, and then I don't know the technical jargon, but they were deemed unwell. And so that stopped. But I remember going, what do you wear to court? What do you wear to court that looks good, but also is courty? So
court. Yes, something serious.
Highly intelligently.
Navy blue with a white shirt.
Makeups for court. I don't know. But all of that stuff, I'd packed it away. When I sat down in lockdown to write the book, it was actually really lovely to unpack falling in love again. If I'd written this book... 18 months after we'd split, I would have been like, we met, the end.
Yes,
Whereas this bit, I could fall in love with falling in love again.
Yeah.
And know that, if Lewis ever wants to read the book, he can. And Andrew wrote a chapter about me in his book when we were together, which was lovely, which Lewis read and said, oh, Dad said that you used to light up a room, in his little face, because he doesn't know Dad and I together as a couple.
Right.
And so it was nice to be able to share that, for Lewis to read if he wants. Again, maybe he should be like my dad and not read the book. But yes, it was nice to remember falling in love.
Yeah, all I can think of is the truck sound in that position of 69. Your son reading that.
He was like, because I had to tell him what the book was going to be called in case he got told it at school. And he was like, have you ever done a blowjob? I said, not many. He said, did you give Dad any? And I was like, absolutely not very many at all. And Dad will probably corroborate that if you ask him. So, yeah, but he's 13.
I like collaborate.
I think that's exactly why I stay this end. Collaborate, yeah. But he's a teenager. You know, it's probably like with your kids, there's an element of wanting to protect them, but there's also the flip side of this is life. And, you know, I'm your mum and I want to have sex again. And, you know, we divorced at 40 and that's not the end of it. Yeah. You know, I might like to be having sex at 90.
Yeah.
It's a fine line with how much you share, you know, I think. And especially when you're public people as well, you know, but how much you share with your kid. But, you know, I guess that's what we all find as parents. You got to find that way through and I guess drip feed as they get older. No. How's it been co-parenting?
You know what? That's one thing we've always done really well. We're pretty flexible. Lou is with Dad half the time, and we've never been that. I can't do that date. Well, then you can't have the next day. You know, we've always just kind of moved with it. Andrew was married before me, and he has a son with his first wife, and he has a daughter with his partner now. And I think because neither of us overlapped, we're all able to kind of just roll with it, and both the ladies, you know, past and current, are lovely. Yeah. And I think that helps. And just being a grown-up, isn't it?
How long before you started to feel, I guess, like yourself again? Like how many years of mourning or months of mourning did you take once you were finally separated?
I think it took me about 18 months, I think. And I was lucky. I got to work at Nova. I was part of the Fitzy Whipper team. And so for me, it was such a lovely distraction to work somewhere where nobody cared about rugby league.
Yeah, right.
We were playing Justin Bieber.
They're AFL people, aren't
they? No interest. And I could just be me because I'd always worked. I'd always had great jobs and I'd always been me. And then, you know, obviously for a long time you become someone's other half. Yep. And so to be able to work here at Nova and kind of just have that distraction and fun. It was like working at Disneyland.
Yeah,
you know? Right. Except you had to get up really early for Disneyland 5 days a week. So it's not so good.
Yeah, and probably a lot funnier too, knowing those two as well.
Yeah.
Did you... you know, after those sort of within those 18 months or even from then, after the separation, did you seek therapy? Did you look for help?
I say in this, one of the chapters is this is not a self-help book. I'm still in therapy. Yeah. So before, when I was with Andrew, we'd done a lot of work as a couple and with the black dog. So I dug deep into that kind of style of therapy, you know, the sort of let's look at the story and let's unpack it and how do you feel about that? So when, you know, the wheels of the marriage kind of fell off, I wanted something a bit more forward focused. You know, I'm a bit of a crystal in my bra energy spray sort of chick. Right, and I was like...
Well, you're in the right place here.
I felt like you were my people.
Bathroom's full of crystals, babe.
I've only got
including
one in
your
my
deodorant.
I love that. But I found an amazing lady and she was a bit of a life coach, energy healer, kinesiologist. And it was brilliant because she really early on, I got to just think about me and the only thing I can control is me. I've got to put my energy into me. I can't control the narrative of the breakup. Yeah. You know, when we'd split before, I wanted to go and tell everyone, this is what happened. This is my side. This time I was like, it's none of my business what other people think about me. Yeah. And so that really helped me, I think, get through, not unscathed, because it's horrendous and you've got to feel the feels, but just with the positive sort of outlook and just reframing my day, you know, the gratitude, the kind of the movement, the happiness. And also a good friend of mine, she said to me, because she was separated with 2 kids, she was like, one bit of advice, you cannot control what happens to Lewis once he leaves you. You can't control what time he goes to bed, what he eats, who he sees, what he hears, you know. And she said, you've got to realise when he goes with Andrew, he's going with the only other person in the world who loves him as much as you.
Oh, that's
and that was just
nice.
like,
yeah.
because you see so many people who get so worked up about what's going on in the other house, and you're like, you can't control it.
Yeah, right.
Can't control it, you know. So yeah, that was a bit of good advice.
Must have been a big weight off your shoulders. Your book, Currently Between Husbands, is out. What's the feedback from women who have gone through similar experiences? You must have had some.
Yeah, I've had great feedback, and I've had feedback from men who've read it, women who aren't married or haven't had kids, like people that I didn't expect to necessarily pick it up have picked it up, and they've just said, you know, I feel seen and heard. You know, I've got someone she's like, I'm happily married, but I'm on maternity leave, and I loved the bit where you talked about being lost on maternity leave and losing your identity, and others who are just like, you've given me hope. Yeah. Others who are like, I'm never going on a dating app based on some of your chapters. I'm like, sorry. But
so
no.
You do deal with the dating apps in the book?
You do, absolutely. There's some
What's the chapter
gold.
name for that? I got to hear it.
There's some gold. Oh, I think there's... what is it? It's something about, well, missionary in a moo boots when I start, but then swiping, stockings, and a sonnet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love it.
That's in there. There's
That's
all
an album
sorts.
title.
I had so much fun writing the chapter names. I was like,
Yes.
this is great. Does my rock bottom look big in this? Is my first where I'm surprised that LAX airport will ever allow me back. But yes, they did allow me back. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. A lot of fun. 7 years on, it's all fun, isn't it?
Yeah,
You
that's
survived
right.
it.
Well,
7
that's the
years
beauty
out.
of time,
Yeah.
isn't it? As they say, time heals. You hope, anyway.
What do you want in your next relationship? What would you love?
What would I love? Well, I was with a lovely chap for nearly 4 years. So sometimes when, you know, I sort of think, oh, should I say to people, I have not been like sort of alone for 7 years.
Yeah.
Which would be fine.
Which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But because I had Lewis. But no, I did meet a lovely chap on Tinder, and we managed to rack up nearly 4 years, and he had to move back to New Zealand, and Mum got poorly, and he sort of stayed over there. So I feel like I know what I want, but again, I needed to grieve that relationship,
Right.
you know. So I feel like now, 18 months on, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'd like someone who's kind. You want different things, don't you, as you get older?
Yep.
Funny, kind, solid. I want someone who loves what they do. I want someone who doesn't mind that I might write some of this stuff, and they just go, I just love you.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's just Cath. Not like, you know, oh my God, that's
Yeah,
it.
you can't say that.
No,
Don't
you can't
say
that. So, yeah, that's what I'd like. And a companion.
Yeah.
Someone to go on holiday with.
Holidays,
Holidays, I know.
right? Where are you going to look for this fella? Yeah.
Well, look.
Are you open to? Will you do the not social media, the dating apps for this?
I will, more for content. For the podcast I do with Sarah, because she's obviously happily married, so I have to bring some of the dating disasters.
Right.
But no, I would like to meet him in real life this time, just be out and about. But yeah, according to psychics, all 6 of them around the world, he is coming in the next few months. Yes.
Stay tuned.
Okay, so psychics.
Yeah.
Now you bring up a psychic.
Love a psychic.
Me too.
Where are the best psychics? You just said around the world. Are you saying you've seen psychics all over the world?
But absolutely. The thing you love about LA is you. That's a great French psychic. I saw that chapter's about her. I've got Susan in the UK. I've got a lady in South Africa. I've got Deb in Melbourne. I've got Susan on the Northern Beaches. I've got Damien from Penrith. He's brilliant. I'm not even joking. Like,
Jeez,
I could
Cath.
do
I've
a
got a
show
lady
on
called
this.
Danina from Wollongong. I'll give you her
Yeah,
number.
give me her
She's
number.
amazing.
I'm always on the hunt for the next
yes,
one.
Yes.
But
And they all say the same thing.
Yes, I know. And that's
Come
this
on.
is happening.
Come on.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
totally.
I used to see them a lot in Los Angeles because there's a plethora of them. I mean, they're on every corner. You know, they've got their signs up everywhere. And then I was like, hang on a second, I am the master of my life. Why am I giving up not only my hard-earned cash for people that are telling me this stuff, but I'm also giving up control because I would believe them? Do you think that they see, this is so funny, we're talking about relations, now we're talking about psychics.
Brilliant.
Do you find that they see a moment in time and that there is still a bunch of possibilities that can happen around a situation? Or do you think that they, Are you getting corroboration between these people?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. And this was long before, I looked, the chapter I wrote about LA and this French psychic, I had to make notes because she was like, I don't want you to record or note, so when you leave, she's like, you can write things down. And I looked at the date and she said publishing and successful, and it's going to help men and women and la, la, la. Wow. And then she said, the thing you love about LA is you, which made me go, I can take that anywhere. Anyway, when I looked to check the notes, it was exactly the same date 5 years ago when I was writing the book as when I looked back at that, and I was like, wow, we're right here. But so many of them have said the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bring on the TV show.
Well, my brother did a show years ago. I think it was called The One. And he's very cynical because he...
Really?
Yeah, he hosted it. There was a bunch of psychics to find the one, and they narrowed it down. I guess someone would boot it off each week or something. And I said, okay, so what do you think? And he goes, maybe there was one who actually was onto something, but they were all, it was very piecemeal. Some were good at some things, others, and then it was a little vague. But I think because it's a TV show, sometimes you only scratch the surface. You don't get the fullness of it. You're not going to have, like you probably had an hour and a half or 2 hours session with each of these people, I'm gathering. How much money would you be willing to spend
on a psychic?
Yeah.
Oh, 250 is the most I've paid for an hour. Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, the lady I just saw was 180.
See, I like that.
I thought that was
Deb
really
from Melbourne, who is amazing, is 160.
Yeah,
I've 10 people have now spoke to Deb, all different, even like the nurse that put my iron infusion in, and they've all messaged and gone, oh my God. I'm like, I know. She's fine. You've got to speak to Deb now.
Getting her number.
Deb from Melbourne.
The last one that I went to, his name was Tom, and he had this silly, funny giggle that he would like this as he would do, and his eyes would roll back, and he'd said to me, someone is coming into your life, initials MB. Is coming in and it's going to make a huge change. And then I think I've had about 7 MBs in my life come in who've been like, there was Mark Burnett, the creator of Survivor. He was big. One of my besties, Michael Bond, we made a movie together. We produced a film together. And it's all these MBs. Currently, my music manager is another MB.
But don't you feel that's a sign?
That there are a lot of MBs in the world?
that they've all been, yes.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not. All I'm doing. I am playing devil's advocate because I was
psychics.
I do, but I get too. But honey, I get too invested in them. I get invested in them, and I put all my eggs in that basket. And then when it doesn't happen, you're going to be on the cover of People magazine. You're going to have all. I mean, the amount of crap that I was told, especially in Hollywood. Oh, big. Yeah, you go to a psychic. Oh. You're an actor. Oh, yeah, okay. Half the people, 95% of the people coming in here are probably going to be actors. Ask me something really, particular.
Did any pick up on the life change, the move back and everything changing here?
Oh, I don't know. I think it was. I haven't seen one since probably 2000 and maybe 3 or 4.
You want to get on with Deb as well,
because we didn't move back till 15 years after that. But I did have one psychic moment, and my uncle had just passed away, and that was kept from me. My mum sort of didn't tell me that for a week or so, and then I got told, and then I was at the psychic, and then the psychic. I'll probably start crying, but the psychic said, there's someone here who wants to talk to you. And I'm like, okay. And I'm lying there in this room on a, under a blanket sort of thing. And then I heard my Uncle Jamie's breathing. And he had a very particular way of breathing. And I just heard the news. And it was like, he's in the room. I could feel Jamie in the room, my uncle. Anyway, it was huge.
Those moments are huge.
That was enormous, and he had a message for me. Yeah. And which was only he could have given me that message. So I cannot say categorically that psychics are not viable. But, like I said, I just have put too much stock in what they're saying, and I get carried away with actually feet on the ground, Cam, let's get to work.
But you can be open-hearted to it all. That's how I sort of see it. Mr. September, I'm putting a lot of emphasis in the September month.
Yeah.
But it's like there's some of the stuff you go, oh, I'm really hanging on tight to that when it's like, you know what, you've just actually got to let that go, and it'll come in when it's meant to.
Yeah.
And I feel like too that, you know, when they tell you something, it's like, and if it's something really good, it's like, okay, that might be something that I actually really put on my radar, looking for those opportunities more so now. If someone says, I see you aligned with a charity for ovarian cancer, then my radar goes, okay, I like that. What are the charities for? You know what I mean? So I think that there's especially if it's something that you are actually interested in. Mr. September is on his way, I can tell.
He's on his way.
Mr. September.
Yeah. I just like
Wake
a
me up.
snog.
Yeah.
You know what? I really can't wait to have a good old-fashioned. I'd take my red lipstick off for that. Just a good snog.
Why don't you wipe your red lipstick on that fella, you know? Wake me up when
Smear.
September comes.
Yeah.
What a great
I like
song.
that.
Here
That's
he
a great
comes.
song.
That could be the theme
Great
song.
That's the next book.
I have to say, Cath, I find it so lovely that you are still so open to love. I mean, what you've been through could often, with some other people, shut them down and going, that's it, I'm done. I'm never going back. And I think it's a testament to you to continue to be brave and keep your heart open and still be so excited about love. So well done you. And that is an inspiration, you know, no matter what, whether you've been through a hard time with work or whatever. But when you see someone like you in the public eye, been through a shit time, written a funny book and is going, but I'm still here and I'm still going to fall in love. It's just so lovely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think hitting your 40s too, isn't it? You're just so, I'm all right with who I am kind of moment. You know? So yes, but no, I think it's always half glass full.
Totally.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for coming
Thank you
in.
for having me. Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
Cath Mahoney has left the bathroom. Did you enjoy that?
I loved that. I did not want her to leave the bathroom, actually. I just wanted to keep hanging and chatting.
What was it about?
It's her take on life. It's how she's evolved something, as I said, something so painful. And again, put it out there for everyone to read about her experience, but with this beautiful, funny, positive, heartwarming, raw, honest spin. And by doing that, other people are, you know, men and women are resonating with it and going, you actually helped me. I just love that.
You guys are quite similar. I think if you would hang out together, you'd have a great time. I think
She would make me laugh a lot.
I think clearly you made her laugh a lot too. But you did something similar, and in that you know, she's talking about divorce and, you know, what can be a very uncomfortable and difficult place to be. And then she's written about that in a quite a humorous and real way, and you did the same thing with your book around menopause. So, you know, which has also been a difficult topic as well.
Yeah.
So you both have that similarity.
Yeah, well, more power to women,
Yeah,
you know, speaking.
Yeah, and just hearing
how they
her
feel.
story. Everyone's got a great story. Everyone has their story, and hers is, I guess, more public than
Yes.
other people.
And
which is
perhaps
tough.
a bit more colourful from what I understand as well. But, you know, as it's so true. Everyone's got a story to tell.
Yeah.
No
Well,
doubt.
I hope you enjoyed listening to Cath as much as we enjoyed speaking with her and listening to her story. We'll catch you on the next Separate Bathrooms.
Thanks for listening.